Imagine a woman, strong yet composed, wise yet silent when needed. She walks through life with grace, guarding her essence like a sacred flame. In a world where emotions are currency and vulnerability is often exploited, a woman must master the art of discretion. Today, we explore the Stoic wisdom behind what a woman should always keep hidden from a man, not out of deceit, but out of strength. Fear is a natural part of the human experience. It is an instinct that has helped humanity survive for centuries, warning us of danger and keeping us alert. But while fear serves a purpose, it also has the power to control and weaken us if not managed properly. A wise woman understands that fear, when revealed, can be turned against her. She does not let the world see the depth of her worries, her insecurities, or the things that keep her up at night. Instead, she acknowledges them privately, confronts them internally, and masters them without allowing them to define her. In the philosophy of Stoicism, emotions are to be understood, not obeyed. The great Stoic thinker Epictetus once said, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." This is the foundation of emotional resilience. A woman who openly expresses every fear she has, whether it is fear of abandonment, failure, or loss, risks placing her emotional power into the hands of others. People, whether intentionally or unintentionally, may use this knowledge against her. A manipulative person might play upon her fear of loneliness, ensuring she remains dependent. An opportunist might exploit her fear of financial insecurity to keep her in a position of need. Even well-meaning individuals, out of ignorance, may feed her fears rather than help her overcome them. To be strong is not to be fearless, but to be in control of one's fears. A woman who practices Stoicism does not suppress or ignore her fears. She examines them with a rational mind. She asks herself, is this fear real, or is it simply my mind creating unnecessary suffering? As Seneca wisely observed, we suffer more in imagination than in reality. Often what we fear is not the thing itself, but our perception of it. The fear of failure, for example, is rarely about failure itself. It is about how others will perceive us if we fail. The fear of rejection is not about being alone, but about feeling unworthy of love. The fear of change is not about the new path, but about leaving behind the familiar. By keeping her deepest fears private, a woman does not deny their existence. She ensures that they do not control her. When faced with a challenge, she does not announce her worries to the world. She does not seek validation by exposing her uncertainties. Instead, she works through them in silence, finding strength in solitude. This does not mean she must carry her burdens alone. She may have a trusted confidant, a mentor, or a small circle of wise individuals with whom she shares selectively. But she never broadcasts her fears to those who have not earned the right to know them. There is a certain power in mystery. A woman who does not reveal her fears becomes unreadable, unpredictable, and therefore difficult to manipulate. She does not give others a roadmap to her weaknesses. Instead, she navigates life with quiet confidence, never allowing fear to dictate her choices. She may be afraid of failing, but she moves forward anyway. She may fear heartbreak, but she loves without desperation. She may fear loss, but she does not cling. This is the essence of Stoicism, acting with wisdom and strength despite the emotions that try to control us. In a world that often seeks to define women by their vulnerabilities, a wise woman reclaims her narrative by keeping certain truths to herself. She understands that not all emotions must be displayed, not all fears must be confessed, and not all struggles need an audience. She does not pretend to be unbreakable, but she ensures that if she ever does break, it is in private, where she can rebuild herself without interference. The greatest women in history have understood this principle. They have faced immense adversity, but have refused to let fear define them. They have remained poised in the face of uncertainty, strong in the face of doubt. They have moved forward despite fear, without ever allowing it to be a weapon used against them. To be fearless is impossible, but to be in control of one's fears is a choice, and a woman who masters this choice becomes unshakable. Weakness is not the absence of strength, but the presence of vulnerability. Every person has weaknesses, areas where they struggle, moments of hesitation, or emotional wounds that have not fully healed. However, a wise woman understands that exposing her weaknesses too openly invites the world to use them against her. In the teachings of Stoicism, self-mastery is the key to inner peace, and part of that mastery is knowing when to reveal and when to conceal. A woman who openly displays her weaknesses risks being misunderstood, underestimated, or even manipulated. If she constantly speaks of her insecurities, others may begin to define her by them, rather than by her strengths. People, whether intentionally or unintentionally, might reinforce her doubts instead of helping her overcome them. A competitor may use her self-doubt to shake her confidence. A dishonest friend may exploit her kindness. Even a well-meaning loved one may unknowingly keep her trapped in a cycle of weakness by always treating her as fragile instead of capable. The Stoics teach that weaknesses are not something to be ashamed of, but something to be worked on privately. Seneca once said, "Difficulties strengthen the mind, as labor does the body." A woman should acknowledge her weaknesses not by broadcasting them, but by confronting them in silence. If she is too emotional, she must learn self-restraint. If she lacks confidence, she must build it through action. If she struggles with discipline, she must cultivate habits that reinforce strength. Her weaknesses are her responsibility, and it is through quiet effort that they can be transformed into strengths. This does not mean she must go through life without support. She can seek guidance from those she deeply trusts, mentors, close friends, or wise individuals who have her best interests at heart. But she does not need to make every struggle public. Not every person deserves to know her battles, and not every battle needs an audience. By keeping her true weaknesses hidden, she maintains control over her own story. A woman's long-term plans are the blueprint of her future, the quiet architecture of her success. They are born from her dreams, refined by her discipline, and shaped by her perseverance. However, one of the greatest mistakes she can make is revealing these plans too soon. In Stoic philosophy, wisdom is found in action, not in unnecessary speech. Marcus Aurelius advised, "Do not waste what remains of your life in speculating about others, unless it is to some mutual benefit." The same applies to one's own journey. Plans should be nurtured in silence until they are strong enough to withstand the opinions, doubts, and interference of the world. When a woman openly shares her long-term goals, she exposes them to external influence. The reactions of others, whether skepticism, jealousy, or even well-intended doubt, can plant seeds of hesitation in her mind. People may discourage her not because she is incapable, but because they impose their own limitations upon her vision. Some may deliberately try to derail her path, while others may unintentionally weaken her resolve by questioning her ability to succeed. A plan that is still growing, still fragile, must be protected from these forces. Furthermore, when goals are spoken about too often, the mind can mistake words for action. Psychological studies have shown that discussing ambitions can create a false sense of accomplishment, making people less likely to follow through. The Stoics understood this centuries ago. Epictetus taught that progress is measured by deeds, not by words. A woman who speaks less about what she will do and focuses more on actually doing it preserves her energy for the work itself. There is also power in unpredictability. When people do not know her next move, they cannot obstruct it. A woman who moves in silence maintains control over her journey. She adapts, changes course when necessary, and makes decisions without external pressure. When success finally arrives, it speaks for itself, rendering explanations unnecessary. This does not mean she must isolate herself completely. She may share her plans selectively, with a mentor, a trusted friend, or someone who genuinely contributes to her growth. But she understands the difference between seeking guidance and seeking validation. She does not need the world's approval to pursue what is already hers in potential. In the end, the most powerful achievements are those that are built quietly and revealed only when they are undeniable. A woman who guards her long-term plans protects not only her dreams, but also the strength required to bring them to life. A woman's endurance is one of her greatest strengths, but it is also one of her most dangerous vulnerabilities if exposed carelessly. The ability to withstand pain, disappointment, hardship, and even betrayal is a trait that makes her formidable. However, if others become too aware of just how much she can endure, they may begin to take advantage of her resilience. In Stoic philosophy, strength is not about announcing one's suffering, but about mastering it in silence. When a woman openly displays her endurance, whether in relationships, at work, or in life, there is a risk that people will assume she can handle anything, no matter how unfair or draining it may be. Some may push her limits, testing just how much she can tolerate. An employer might exploit her work ethic, giving her more responsibility without proper reward. A partner might assume she will always forgive, always stay, no matter how much she is hurt. Even friends and family might take her kindness and patience for granted, expecting her to always be the strong one, the one who never complains, the one who absorbs the burdens of others without question. Stoicism teaches that suffering in silence is noble, but allowing oneself to be mistreated is not wisdom, it is self-neglect. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this and you will find strength." A woman should control how much of her endurance she reveals. It is not necessary to prove to the world how much she can take. It is far wiser to set boundaries, to make it clear that endurance is a choice, not an obligation. By keeping her true level of endurance hidden, she maintains control over her own well-being. She does not allow herself to be placed in a position where suffering becomes expected of her. She recognizes that strength is not about enduring endless hardship, but about knowing when to walk away, when to rest, and when to say no. A woman who understands this does not announce her struggles or display her suffering as a badge of honor. Instead, she moves through challenges with quiet resilience, revealing only what she chooses to, ensuring that her endurance is never mistaken for permission to be mistreated. In doing so, she preserves her strength for battles that truly matter, rather than wasting it on proving how much she can endure. Love is one of the most powerful forces in the world. It has the ability to heal, inspire, and transform. But when given without restraint, it can also be a source of vulnerability. A wise woman understands that while love is meant to be deep, pure, and unwavering, its full depth should never be completely revealed. In Stoic philosophy, emotions should be guided by reason rather than allowed to control one's actions. This principle applies to love as well. It should be given wisely, not recklessly, and its depth should be protected rather than exposed. When a woman openly expresses the full extent of her love, whether in a romantic relationship, a friendship, or even within her family, she risks creating an imbalance. The more someone knows they are loved beyond measure, the more they may take that love for granted. Human nature is such that people often appreciate what they must earn, but overlook what is freely given without limits. If a man knows the exact depth of a woman's devotion, he may begin to assume that no matter what he does, her love will remain unchanged. He may unintentionally test its boundaries, growing careless with her emotions because he believes she will always be there. Stoicism teaches that love, like all emotions, must be tempered with wisdom. Seneca once wrote, "A wise man is content with himself." This does not mean rejecting love, but rather maintaining a sense of self-sufficiency within it. A woman must ensure that her love does not consume her identity or place her in a position of emotional dependence. She can love deeply, but she must also love herself enough to walk away if she is not valued. Keeping the full depth of her love concealed does not mean being cold or distant. It means maintaining an element of mystery, a sense of quiet strength. It means loving without losing oneself, giving without being depleted, and caring without making it easy for others to take advantage. A woman who masters this balance ensures that her love remains respected, appreciated, and never taken for granted. True love does not need to be loudly declared to be real. The deepest love is often felt in actions rather than words, in presence rather than promises. A woman who understands this does not need to prove the depth of her love. She simply allows it to be known in the way she chooses, on her own terms. A woman's financial status is one of the most powerful aspects of her independence, yet it is also one of the most delicate pieces of information she possesses. Money, in itself, is not just currency, it is control, security, and the ability to make decisions free from external influence. A wise woman understands that revealing her complete financial status, whether to a partner, friends, or even family, is not always in her best interest. In Stoic philosophy, self-sufficiency is a virtue, and true independence comes from maintaining control over one's resources, rather than allowing others to dictate their use. When a woman openly discloses her financial situation, she risks exposing herself to unnecessary judgment, expectations, or even manipulation. If she is financially well off, she may attract people who are more interested in what she can provide rather than in who she truly is. Friends or relatives may begin to assume that she is always available to help, placing her in a position where she feels obligated to give beyond her means. In romantic relationships, a partner may see her financial stability as an opportunity to contribute less, assuming that she can always cover expenses. Over time, this imbalance can create resentment and dependency, shifting the dynamic of the relationship in ways that do not serve her best interests. On the other hand, if she is struggling financially, revealing this too openly can make her vulnerable in a different way. She may be perceived as weak, irresponsible, or in need of saving. Some may see her struggles as an opportunity to exert control, offering financial help with strings attached. A partner may use it as leverage to dictate her choices, making her feel indebted in ways that go beyond money. Even those who mean well might project their own fears onto her situation, discouraging her from taking risks that could ultimately lead to success. The Stoics believed in self-reliance and the importance of inner control over external circumstances. Seneca wrote, "Wealth is the slave of a wise man, the master of a fool." A woman who keeps her financial matters private ensures that her wealth, or lack thereof, remains a tool for her own use, not something others can manipulate. She does not need to prove her worth through material possessions, nor does she need to justify her financial position to anyone. Instead, she moves through life with quiet confidence, making decisions based on her own needs and values. This does not mean she must isolate herself completely. Financial transparency can be important in certain trusted relationships, such as with a spouse or a financial advisor. However, even in these situations, she must ensure that sharing information does not lead to loss of control. She should always retain agency over her resources, making choices based on logic rather than pressure. A woman who keeps her financial status private also maintains an element of unpredictability. People cannot make assumptions about her spending habits, her generosity, or her limitations if they do not have a full picture of her financial situation. This allows her to navigate relationships and opportunities on her own terms, without being boxed in by the expectations of others. Ultimately, financial independence is not just about having money. It is about having the power to make choices free from undue influence. A woman who understands this guards her financial status carefully, revealing only what is necessary and keeping control where it belongs, in her own hands.